Hi folks, today we're going to focus on finding zeros and writing polynomials. So the instructions first of all are just find all of the zeros. So now we can go back and we can think about some of the things that we have learned. How many positive zeros should we expect to have? How many negative zeros should we expect to have? What are the possible zeros that we could have? So first off, we can just take a look at how many sign changes are happening here. We have no sign changes with positive f of x, so there will be no positive solutions. And if we find f of negative x, we'll have negative x to the third plus 7 times negative x squared plus 15 times negative x plus 9. So our sign changes for the negatives, here we're going to have negative x cubed plus 7x squared minus 15x plus 9. So taking a look at these sign changes for f of negative x, we have 1, 2, 3. So we can expect to have 3 or 1 negative solutions. And since our number of solutions need to add up to the biggest exponent, which is third power, we can also expect to have 2 or 0 imaginary solutions. We won't have any positives. So now, taking a look at the factors of 9, once again, our leading coefficient is a 1. So all we're looking at are the factors of 9. So it could be plus or minus 1, 3, and 9. Now it's just a matter of trying. We know we don't need to try any positive numbers because we're not going to get any positive solutions. So we're looking for negative solutions. So the first thing I want to try is one of those negatives. And I'm going to try out negative 3 to begin with. So negative 3 is going to go in the box. We bring down the coefficients, 1, 7, 15, and 9. We leave a space, draw a line, and we should expect to have 0 right here. That's how we know we chose correctly, because there's no leftover. So we bring down the 1, multiply, add. So negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Add down, we got 4. Multiply. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Add it down, we got 3. Multiply. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Add it down, we got 0. So we did it right. So we're left with an x squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 0. So now we can go ahead and find that a couple of different ways. And I think probably the easiest way for this particular one would be just to factor it apart. So we have plus plus, so in here we'll have plus plus. The x squared breaks down into x and x. The factors of 3 would be 3 and 1, and those do combine to give us our middle term of 4. So now, to finish solving, we need to set each of those equal to 0. So x plus 3 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. Now we can solve. So here we would subtract the 3. X equals negative 3. Here we would subtract the 1. So x equals negative 1. And don't forget about this guy right here. That also means x equals negative 3. Now, right here, we are given the same solution twice. We can still count it as 2 solutions. Even though it's the same solution, we get to count it as 2 solutions. So we have 1, 2, 3 solutions, which is what we should expect. 3 solutions. So there are all of our real zeros. Here, we're going to do the same type of thing. We are going to find all of the zeros. We're going to find all of our solutions on this. Now, I went ahead and did some work ahead of time on this to figure out how many positive solutions, how many negative solutions, So we can expect 4 or 2 or 0 positive solutions. We can expect 1 negative solution. And we can expect 4 or 2 or 0 imaginary solutions. And the factors of 6, so plus or minus 1, 6, 2, and 3, those are our possibles. So now it's just a matter of picking correctly and see what goes in. Now, I'm going to focus right here on a negative because I know there's 1 negative. There could be 0 positives, all right? But I know there's 1 negative, so I'm going to focus on that. And I'm going to pick -2 to go ahead and put that in the box right away. So now we bring down our coefficients. Make sure you notice there is no x cubed term, so we got to make sure we put a placeholder in for that. So our coefficients are 1, -2, 0, 8, -13, and 6. Leave a space, draw a line, and we go through the motions again. Bring down the first. Multiply. So we get -2. Add it down, we got -4. Multiply, so we got a +8. Add it down, we got 8. Multiply, -16. Add it down, we get -8. Multiply, so we have 16. Add it down, we get 3. Multiply is -6. Add it down, we get 0, which is what we should get if the -2 works. So we know we have one of our solutions with x is -2. So we took care of our negative. All right, now we can go ahead and focus on the positives. Now, this is pretty big. All right, we can't really factor that apart yet. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to just go again. This time I'm going to pick something else. I'm going to pick a +1. Now this time I should get a 0 in this box if it works. So I'm going to bring down the 1. Multiply, add, and get -3. Multiply, -3, add it down, I get 5. Multiply, well, 1 times 5 is 5, add it down, we get -3. Multiply, 1 times -3 is -3, add it down, we get a 0. So there we got it. 1 is another one of our solutions. All right, and still, this is our constant, this is our x term, our x squared, and our x cubed. So it's still kind of big, a little bit too big for us to probably try and factor yet, which means we can go again. We can pick something else, all right? And don't be surprised or shocked if the same number works again. So now we can multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So there, using 1 again, I got the 0 again. So I know that we're supposed to have 4 or 2 or 0 positive solutions. Remember, even though the 1 is listed twice, we can count it as 2 separate solutions. So there's 2 of our positives. Now, what we have left is x squared minus 2x plus 3. And with that, we need to find the zeros from that. Factoring won't work on this one, so we need to use the quadratic formula. So x equals +2 plus or minus the square root of -2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 3 all over 2 times 1. So x equals 2 plus or minus the square root of -8 all over 2. So we know we're taking the square root of a negative, so there's 2 imaginary solutions. So x equals 2 plus or minus, breaking this whole thing apart, we should have 2I root 2 all over 2. So this 2 down here will divide these 2's here. So we can go ahead and do that. X equals 1 plus or minus I root 2. So there are our two imaginary solutions. So now if we count them all out, we have two imaginary solutions here. We have two positive solutions here and a negative here. That's a total of 5 solutions, which, according to this, is what we're supposed to get. Okay, now the next one, I'd like you to try it on your own, and you should have 5 solutions. All right, and those 5 solutions will be -1, 2, and 2 plus or minus I root 3. Now one of these two is going to be a repeat solution. I believe it's the -1, but you can go ahead and check that on your own just to make sure. The last thing I want to show you here is writing a polynomial when you're already given the zero. So we're going to work backwards on this. So real quickly, we have zeros of -3, 1, and 2. So what that really means to us is we know that x equals -3, x equals 1, and x equals 2. Now we're going to take that knowledge and we're going to set each of them equal to 0, which means we're going to add 3 here. So x plus 3 equals 0. Here we're subtracting 1. So x minus 1 equals 0. Here we're subtracting 2. So x minus 2 equals 0. Now we're just going to put these 3 parts into parentheses. So we have x plus 3 times x minus 1 times x minus 2. From here, we can FOIL all this out. All right, we can go ahead and ignore this third part and just FOIL these first 2. So FOILing out the first 2, we have x times x is x squared minus x plus 3x minus 3. So putting together our two like terms, we have x squared plus 2x minus 3. And now we can FOIL in that third term. So it's a little bit bigger FOIL this time. So x squared times x would be x cubed minus 2x squared plus 2x squared minus 4x minus 3x plus 6. So the equation that would give us these 3 zeros would be right down here at the bottom once we combine all of our like terms. So we have an x cubed, and then we combine our x squareds, which there are none because they get rid of each other. And we combine our x's, so it's going to be minus 7x. And then we have our constant of plus 6. So there's the polynomial function, or polynomial equation, that would give us these zeros. So I want you to try this one on your own and see how you do. Your answer for it should be x cubed plus 3x squared minus 33x minus 35. All right, now I'd ask that you go ahead and practice this. So your assignment is on page 384, numbers 10 through 23, and number 28. Best of luck to you. We'll see you in class.